Hey guys, today is Tuesday, May 28th, 8:45 p.m. My name is James, and welcome to the channel. I just want to point out before we go into the indexes in the lower right corner, you see the hashtag hold your stop, hashtag hold your stop. I put that in there. I just want to keep that up there for now because one of the biggest lessons I learned through the process of trying to learn to trade is to hold my stop. A couple of things that it does is, number one, it prevents you from creating an emotional reaction, an emotional trade to get out of something. It also keeps you in something that could turn out really, really well, if you don't make that emotional reaction. So yeah, I'll throw that up there, and I'm using it on Twitter, and we'll just keep that up there. But that's why it's there. So it's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned. And I really like the hashtag, so whatever. So let's take a look at the S&P 500. Really crappy, actually, right? So we got in a descending triangle here, but look at the day, man. So it opened up really, really nicely. I actually thought we were gonna finally get a nice up day, and it just sagged and sagged and sagged. And now we're sitting here like this bar kind of creates a support, and we're right there again. Even below this, which is a longer term support, as you can see over here, was resistance, then turned to support, and now we're actually closing below that. Let's look at the other indexes too. This market doesn't look very good. Here on the Dow, kind of a symmetrical triangle, but now look at where we're closing, the lowest possible point in that pattern. NASDAQ, falling wedge, supposed to be a bullish reversal kind of pattern, yet we keep struggling to get any kind of upside and hold any kind of upside. Like we can't hold a gain either, and the volume is really low. The Russell, so I had this little kind of pennant area that it broke down to and hit support, and this is actually a larger falling wedge, which should be bullish. Falling wedge is a bullish pattern down to support. We would expect that we should be able to bounce off that. I mentioned when I had the pennant on there that the Russell could be a leading indicator. I hoped it wasn't, but there it is, leading. Like we dropped down here, we're not getting anywhere. We are holding support here, but not in the S&P. We closed below that. The NASDAQ is right at support, but closing below, and the Dow is still within a pattern. So still a lot of crappy downside kind of action / indecision going on. It's really not the best market. Now let's go through the list and we'll see what we got. Again, how I'm playing the market is when things were better, I really wanted to get into something and then be able to hold it and hope that through this kind of choppy behavior that we can just hang on to that stock. If things get choppy, if things get a little uncertain, if we get into a strong stock, it should be able to hold itself up, and that's what I'm seeing in MDB. That's the one that I'm in, and there's a few others. We'll go over those too. So MDB isn't really selling off. It's choppy, sure, but it's not really selling off. My stop is somewhere down here. I think I got it in a 136.48. It came 3 cents away from that. Again, hashtag hold your stop. Yeah, my stop was 3 cents above the lowest low of this day, and I just held it. So that's, again, holding your stop is the best way to not create an emotional move. That's part of your rules, right? Follow the rules, don't follow your emotions. So anyway, I've got kind of an ascending triangle forming here, I hope. We'll see how that plays out. It's holding up pretty well. Shopify looks fantastic. Again, it gained today, had an even bigger gain. It was up about $9 or $10 at one point, and then pulled back with the rest of the market, but still closed above the upper line. Still looks super strong. Match kind of closed out of that little channel area, not looking like a really great breakout or anything, but it did cross the line. We'll have to see if we get any sort of upside that can cause that thing to keep climbing. We'll just keep an eye on that, see how it goes. Again, if you were in from down here, for me, I would still be in my stop down here. I wouldn't move it. Just let it swing around all that it needs to up there to work all of this uncertainty out, and then hope it doesn't turn over. But so far it's holding up really well. So Roku, here's another good example of holding your stop. My stop would be right there at the break-even point. So you want to get in as close to that line as possible, hopefully even on that line. That's where your stop should be to break even if it turns against you. This turned over today, never touched that area. Came very, very close, but still didn't touch it. And then we'll have to see how it reacts tomorrow. But yeah, it looked really, really good up to, what was it, Friday? And it's weird that it would turn over so aggressively, but we'll have to see what it does. But yeah, if you held your stop, sure, you lost that gain, but you're not stopped out yet. And you're at break even. So if you get stopped out, you're at zero, except the commission, but it hasn't touched it yet. So this guy, HUBS, it looked really strong here and then pulled back, tried again today. See, so many, this is kind of what frustrates me about this particular market and other ones I've seen before too. If you're not in from down here, or you're not in from there, on this stock, for example, you really can't even attempt to make an entry. But at the same time, we're seeing these kind of bullish patterns, like this whole thing and this whole thing and this whole thing, but the things aren't breaking out, but they are holding up. They're not breaking out. They can't gain any traction to move higher, but they're not completely breaking down either. I don't see any big solid red bars showing up again and again on these stocks. They're just sitting there, and those are the signs of the good stocks. But it also gives me the feeling that the market should still be able to try to go up, because we have strong stocks that are holding up. So at the very least, when sentiment changes and we do get that positive turn in the market where everything starts to move up and it starts moving up with volume and momentum and all of that, these stocks that are holding up are the ones that are going to move. So looking at COUP, again, it's the same kind of thing. That price is just hanging around up there. It's a choppy, uncertain market. You can't really make a new entry because you never know what's going to move or what's going to turn over on you. But this is one where if you were in from down here or in from here, the price is just hanging out up there. You'll get up and down and it closes. You'll get down and up and it closes. That's a sign of a very strong stock. CRM, same as before, where it's just kind of, this is a really tight consolidation. It looks symmetrical to me, but again, things being so choppy, who knows which way it's going to go. It might break down from there. We just have to wait and see. Domo is still within that consolidation area. This guy now has this symmetrical triangle, and it is following that lower line. Touched the upper line today too. That pattern looks valid. Those lines are being followed. Funko still within the ascending triangle. This still looks pretty good. Give that more time. This guy popped. AVLR. Volume wasn't that great. It was bigger Friday, but it's still, the price moved out. We'll see what that does tomorrow. Again, choppy and uncertain market. That could easily turn right back down again. But set your stop to break even, especially in this market. If I was to make a new entry, I would get my stop to break even as fast as possible. Sometimes I like to give a stock 1 or 2 days to move up, and then I'll go to break even so I can see the momentum continuing. But with a market like this that's really choppy and difficult, and you don't really know what you're going to get, I would get to break even as fast as I could. And I would even cut profits really short. So if you get 2 or 3 days of upside, just get out. For example, Roku, you could have done that because the conditions are so choppy and uncertain. You get a gain, just take it. Just get out. Because and you can see it on Roku. It moved up for like 3 days and then it just turned over. So you can hold your stop, sure. Or you could just, you've got a profit, take it, because the market isn't really trending very aggressively to the upside right now. So you get a profit, just get out. That's one way to do it. Tandem is still within this pattern. I added trade desk back in the other day, and these lines seem to be holding. It popped up to the upper line, didn't break out. Volume came up a little from previous days though. Lulu is still within that nice triangle, and this looks to be valid. It approached and backed off from that line. That still looks really good. Lulu is a good example of one where if it stays in that pattern, that's going to be an absolutely perfect setup, because it's just hasn't broke out, hasn't failed. It's just hanging out in the symmetrical triangle. And then if the market can turn higher and that goes, boom, there's a nice new entry. Now I added back in because I could see this line forming here. So now we're kind of getting symmetrical there. AYR I added back in because look at this move today. Volume comes up, and that's a really nice big green bar on that chart. So look at this pattern we got here. So that's going to be around 2040. Looks really nice there. PRFT, I just found this one tonight. I think it's a software company. Ascending triangle forming right there. Looks pretty nice. Again, if we can get momentum. That's what it's all about, man. Momentum, but this market is so uncertain. And then I added this back in too. Its earnings are June 5th. It had broken out from here, and I took it out when it did that red dip there, but it eventually bounced back up, and now we're forming this little flag. Hopefully that will just continue to channel until the earnings come out, which is, what is today, 29th? Well, next week, on Wednesday, after the market closes. So if that could continue that channel, and then earnings are good, pops over the line, that could be a buying opportunity. So yeah, that's it. Really choppy, really uncertain market right now. Can't really hold any gains. It's just yuck. Be careful. I'll see you next time.